Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Sit, Walk, Work podcast, a show about paying attention. My name is Dominic and I'm your host. Welcome to the first day of 2025. That's crazy to hear. When I was a little kid, I used to think that 2025 was so far away. Like, that was moons and worlds away from anything I could comprehend. And now, just like that, in a blink of an eye, here we are. And one of the other things that I really used to get annoyed by, if you will, when I was a kid, was when things would end. I think we all know that feeling. Saturday morning cartoons, for example, when those would just kind of come to their final conclusion, there was a bit of heartbreak, a little like that it was over. And that's true for a lot of things that come to an end. And I don't know that I or you ever got over the bit of disdain that we have for when things come to an end. Unless we've obviously chosen to end them and we're okay with that. But I'm just talking about any endings at all. I look back on the jobs, the relationships, the activities, and the things that ended that I felt this way about. And I realize that those endings created space for new unexpected opportunities. And that's what you're overlooking. It's in plain sight. You see it all around you, but you miss it every time. Because we don't leave room for the potential magic that exists beyond an ending. We only focus on the fact that that thing is coming to a close. I mean, you're very much familiar with leaving a long overdue situation. And then the moment you do, it's as if a new opportunity opens. Staying at the job too long that you really don't want to quit, but you know you should, and all you do is complain about it, and everybody tells you you need to leave, and you know you need to leave, but you're afraid to. And then finally one day you get fed up. You step away from the job situation, and then this wonderful new opportunity opens. Something that at the time you were going through it, you couldn't have even imagined for yourself. It's as if it's magic. Or, like I'd like to say, it's also as if your blessings were waiting for you to catch up. They've always been there, biding their time, waiting for you to get on board, because they can't force you or make you do anything. You've got to be willing to step into your own blessings, and sometimes you don't. You don't step into your own blessings because you're too busy worried about ending the thing that you know you need to end. In the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali states that the goal of yoga is not to join, but it's actually to unjoin, to disconnect the Purusha, or our consciousness, from Prakriti, or the material world, matter. This involves ending the intertwining of ourselves with the lives that we live in order to gain deeper insights into ourselves and break free from our over-identifications. So, as a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher, I have heard my entire career that yoga is about joining things together. And I do believe there is truth to that. But in reading this bit of philosophical text, it makes me consider the idea that what is being said there is that also yoga is about endings and new beginnings. Because we have to end this deeply close attachment that we have to our material selves in order to nurture and grow our consciousness, the non-material nature of ourselves. And if you don't get out of that enmeshment, you can't really start to be all that you're capable of being, to recognize your complete humanness. And that's pretty important, because this isn't a dress rehearsal. You are living the one life you get. And if you're living a life that is overly identified and overly bound by the material nature of the world with no regard for the caring of your soul, then you're doing yourself an injustice. I was listening to Dan Harris's latest episode with Vinny Ferrero, who I deeply admire as a teacher and am manifesting one day working with, because he just resonates with me in a very human and understandable way. And he takes the ideas of meditation and Buddhism and kind of weaves them in this beautiful tapestry of real life events and ideas and execution. Like, he takes this stuff that's really esoteric and makes it a daily practice. And in their conversation, it kind of aligns with today's talk. They brought up the 5 daily remembrances, which is what the Buddha kind of references as a way for us to contemplate and think about how death affects our lives. And that's an important skill, because what is death if not an ending of something? It's not necessarily the end of everything, but it is the ending of something, which means that there's a good chance that there's a beginning of something else on the other side of that. So in it, he lists out the 5 kind of remembrances that you can contemplate upon. And so the first one says, I'm of the nature to grow old. There's no way to escape growing old. I'm of the nature to have ill health, and there's no way of escaping having ill health. I'm of the nature to die, and there's no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change, and there is no way to escape being separated from them. And lastly, my actions are my only true belongings. I can't escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground on which I stand. And while the first 4 kind of touch on the impermanent nature of this thing that we call life, and they seem like they can be a hard pill to swallow, because in some ways they feel a little bleak. But the reality is, it isn't that cut and dry. It isn't just what should feel good and what feels bad, or, it isn't about only creating a life that feeds the best parts of the things we want. I've started to notice that in life, we trick ourselves. We do a beautiful job of pretending we're gonna live forever, knowing that death is imminent, and then getting mad about that idea. Or we get into relationships and we think they're going to last forever, knowing that at some point, whether because death shows up or some unforeseen circumstance occurs, they'll too come to an end. We live in a world that is built in a constant cycle of change, from sun up to sundown. And we make no qualms about that, and yet we fight our own internal battles, unbeknownst to us in a lot of ways, and then we're confused about why we are unhappy. We are strange creatures at times. But of those 5, the one that I want to drill home on is that the only thing that you get to keep with you. The only thing that truly gets to stay is your actions. Your actions stay with you. They transcend. They follow you through this lifetime of ours and maybe beyond it. One of the things that we must do as we begin to open ourselves to new levels of consciousness is to recognize that endings are merely disguised beginnings. And if we can take action, intentional action in those new beginnings, then we can start to reformulate the next action, because each one's predicated on the prior. Build us some momentum, change the direction of things, should we need to. We've all heard the phrase, when one door closes, another door opens. Yet when it comes time for things to end, we mourn without considering the potential for a new door to open. And that's what I'm asking you to act differently about. That as we step into the beginning of 2025, with the closing door of 2024 now behind us, can we keep at focus the potential that lies in front of us, the power that comes with that? Put down the things of 2024 that aren't serving you, that aren't improving your life, that aren't decreasing your psychological suffering, or in some cases your physical suffering. Keep your eyes focused on the blessings you can't see, but exist in the land of new beginnings. And then start to take gradual steps in that direction to create a life that, when everything goes away, when all you're left with is the bare nature of the actions that you've taken, you can be proud of it. You can know that what you will leave behind can and may transcend beyond you. I've been running my mouth for a little bit, kind of expounding on these ideas around endings and beginnings. And so I figured we should probably, practice a little. Let's sit with some of these things and discover any truths that might be hiding within us. In the Buddha's words, let's go and see how this looks in our mind and in our body. So wherever you are, because I can't see you, obviously, but wherever you are, take a comfortable seat. Make sure that your spine has some length in it. A long spine is a good way to breathe, and a good way to breathe is a great gateway into practice. Notice if your feet are firmly planted underneath you, and then allow them to kind of settle in. Let your hands rest in your lap, the surface in front of you, or any other place where they are going to be stable and comfortable. Slightly pick your chin up, look out in front of you. Let your vision rest on a single point. And when your next exhale rolls around, gently bring the eyes to close if it feels safe. Otherwise, just kind of keep your vision kind of locked out in front of you on a non-moving object. As we begin to go inside. For practice, I'd like to give you a couple ground rules. Number 1, you're not here to change anything about whatever's coming up for you right now. If only for the next few minutes, we are stepping into observing the nature of ourselves with the perspective that it's okay in here. Doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to feel good, but it is okay in here, and I am okay with it. On this journey, we will find ourselves distracted, pulled away, taken out of our general focus. And that's okay. Our job is to observe the patterns, to follow the train of thoughts, to feel the sensations, to notice how they dissipate, to observe our experience and see where everything comes to an end and then it all begins again. So softly hold your attention now on simply following your breath, the in and outflow of your breathing. Here's the thing about holding our attention on any one thing. It isn't the only thing that's present. So your mind may have been pulled into your stream of thinking. It might be lost in the sensations of your body or your thoughts about the way your body feels in practice. Or any doubt that might be present. Or sleepiness if you're tired. And that's okay. I want you to kindly bring your attention back to watching your breath. So your breath is a masterful teacher. Beginning and endings live right there with each inhale and each exhale. The birth of an inhale. It blossoms, it blooms, it opens up, it fills you up, it rises. And then the exhale marks the end of the cycle. Letting the air leave your body and return to the environment around you. And so can you. welcome the next beginning with your next inhale. Can you notice how close your attention is to the breath? Does it feel like it's right in front of you, moving in and moving out? Or can you mentally take a step back, widen your field of observation, and feel your breath just as the sensation moving through your body? Knowing that beginning again, just like when your attention is distracted, is no different than the breath beginning again with each subsequent cycle of breath predicated on the previous one. Feel free to stay with this practice of watching and observing the breath. I'm wishing you all of the blessings you could ever want in 2025. I hope that you allow yourself the space and freedom to grow and to become more than you ever imagined you could be. And maybe, just maybe, pick your head up, extend your hand out, and bring a few people along with you. And we can all make this place a little bit better. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I invite you to check out my Substack, where we are building a community of like-minded individuals to discuss all topics related to the idea of paying attention. I hope to see you there. But until then, with Metta, may you be well.
That's the